Stop the tape. Dr. Phil's voice cut through the studio like a blade. 200 people froze. The cameras kept rolling, but everything else, the murmurs, the breathing, the very air, stopped. In his hand, a white envelope. On stage, a woman named Sarah, 43, collapsed forward, her face buried in her hands. In the audience, row 7, seat 12, an elderly man stood up slowly, his weathered hands gripping the seat in front of him. "Oh my God!" he whispered. "Oh my God, that's her!" What nobody in that room knew, not the producers, not the audience, not even Dr. Phil himself, was that the answer to a 30-year search was sitting 14 feet away the entire time. Rewind. 6 weeks earlier, Sarah Mitchell had written to the Dr. Phil show with a story that had haunted her every single day since she was 13 years old. "I need to find my father," her email began. "Not because I'm angry. Not because I want money. But because I need to know where I come from before it's too late." Her mother had died 2 years prior without ever revealing the truth. "Your father was a good man," was all she would say. But circumstances were complicated. No name. No location. Nothing but a single photograph, faded, torn at the edges, of a man holding a newborn baby. On the back, written in her mother's handwriting, "Michael. San Diego. 1981. That was it. 30 years of searching based on a first name, a city, and a year. The Dr. Phil team had seen thousands of these cases. Most went nowhere. But something about Sarah's letter, maybe the desperation, maybe the simplicity of her ask, made producer Jennifer Chen flag it for consideration. "She's not asking for a reunion special," Jennifer told Dr. Phil during their Monday production meeting. "She just wants to know if he's alive. She wants to know his last name. She has late-stage kidney disease and needs family medical history before her transplant evaluation." Dr. Phil looked up from the file. "Medical urgency? Stage 4. She's on the transplant list, but they need comprehensive family history. Her mother's side has genetic markers that disqualify certain donors. She needs to know his side." Dr. Phil closed the folder. "Book her." But what the team didn't know, what nobody could have predicted, was that the search had already ended before it began. Production moved fast. Within 2 weeks, Sarah was on a plane to Los Angeles. The show had hired a genealogist, a private investigator, and contacted every Michael, born between 1950 to 1965 in the San Diego area who might match the photograph. 47 possibles. 12 agreed to DNA tests. None matched. By the morning of the taping, the team had nothing. No match. No father. Just a woman with a dying wish and an audience full of people who came to watch someone else's story unfold. Sarah sat in the green room, her hands shaking as a production assistant mic'd her up. "Just be honest," the PA said gently. "Dr. Phil will guide you through it. Even if we didn't find him, you'll have told your story. Sometimes that's enough." Sarah nodded, but her eyes betrayed the truth. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. On stage, Dr. Phil reviewed his notes one final time. The audience settled into their seats, 200 strangers who had won tickets through the show's website lottery. Row 7 included a group from a San Diego retirement community. A last-minute addition. Seats that had opened up when a school group canceled. Among them, Michael Torres, 74, a widower who came because his late wife had loved the show. "It'll be good to get out," his daughter had said. "You've been in that house too long. Subscribe and leave a comment." Because the most powerful part of this story is still ahead. The cameras went live. Dr. Phil walked onto the stage to applause. "Today we have a guest named Sarah Mitchell," he began, his voice measured and warm. "Sarah has spent the last 30 years searching for her biological father. Her mother passed away 2 years ago without ever revealing his identity. And now Sarah is running out of time." Sarah walked on stage. The audience applauded politely. The kind of supportive applause reserved for people carrying visible pain. She sat down. Dr. Phil sat across from her, his posture open, his eyes locked on hers. "Tell me about your mother," he said. Sarah's voice cracked immediately. "She was everything to me. Raised me alone. Worked 3 jobs. Never complained. But she carried this secret like it was killing her, and when she finally was dying, she still wouldn't tell me. Did you ask? Every day for 2 years. In the hospital. In hospice. I begged her. I told her I wasn't angry, I just needed to know. But she'd just cry and say, 'It's complicated, baby. It's so complicated.'" Dr. Phil leaned forward. "What do you think complicated means?" "I don't know. Maybe he was married. Maybe it was an affair. Maybe he doesn't even know I exist. Would you want to meet him?" Sarah paused. The studio was silent. "I need to meet him. Not want. Need. I have stage 4 kidney disease. I'm on the transplant list, but they need genetic history from both sides. My mother's side has issues that eliminate a lot of donor matches. If I don't know his medical history, my chances drop by 60%. I'm not asking for a relationship. I'm asking for a chance to live." The audience shifted. This wasn't entertainment anymore. This was survival. Dr. Phil looked down at his notes. "Our team spent 6 weeks trying to find him. We tested 12 men named Michael from San Diego born in the right time frame. None matched." Sarah's face fell. "But," Dr. Phil continued, and the word hung in the air like a lifeline, "we did find something." He reached beneath his chair and pulled out the envelope. White. Sealed. The logo of a DNA testing company visible in the corner. In row 7, Michael Torres felt his chest tighten. Something about that photograph Dr. Phil had just shown on the screen. The one of the young man holding the baby. Something about those eyes. "This envelope," Dr. Phil said slowly, "contains DNA results that our team received late last night. Results we weren't expecting." He looked directly at Sarah. "Are you ready?" She nodded, tears already streaming. Dr. Phil opened the envelope. His eyes scanned the page. Once. Twice. His expression changed, not to disappointment, but to something nobody in that room had ever seen on his face before. Shock. Pure, unfiltered shock. "Hold on," he said quietly. Then louder. "Stop the tape." The studio erupted in confused murmurs. Producers rushed forward. Dr. Phil stood up, still holding the paper, and walked to the edge of the stage. He looked directly at the audience. "I need to ask something unusual," he said, his voice steady but urgent. "Is there anyone in this audience from San Diego? Anyone born in the 1950s? Hands went up. 6. 7. 8. Anyone named Michael? One hand stayed up. Row 7, seat 12. Dr. Phil's eyes locked on him. "Sir, can you stand up?" Michael Torres stood slowly, his face pale. "Yes, I'm Michael. Michael Torres. Michael, I need to ask you something very specific, and I need you to be completely honest." "Okay. In 1981, did you have a relationship with a woman named Rebecca?" The name hit Michael like a physical blow. He staggered slightly, gripping the seat in front of him. "Rebecca. Oh God. Rebecca Mitchell." Sarah's head snapped up. "Mitchell. That's my mother. That was my mother's name." The studio exploded. Gasps. Screams. People standing. Cameras swiveling. Dr. Phil held up his hand. "Everyone, please. Please sit down." The room obeyed, but barely. Dr. Phil looked at Michael. "Sir, I need you to come down here." Michael moved like a man in a dream. Down the steps. Across the floor. Onto the stage. He stopped 10 feet from Sarah, afraid to come closer. Dr. Phil held up the paper. "This DNA test was submitted by Sarah 6 weeks ago. Last night, our lab ran it against their database one final time, checking for any familial matches that might have been uploaded recently. He paused. 3 days ago, someone uploaded their DNA to the same database. Someone who was curious about their ancestry. Someone who had no idea what they were about to discover. Michael's voice was barely a whisper. I did an ancestry test. My daughter bought it for my birthday. I just sent it in last week. Dr. Phil looked at both of them. Michael Torres, according to this test, you are Sarah Mitchell's biological father. Probability, 99.97%. The world stopped. Sarah stood up. Michael stood frozen. Neither moved. Neither breathed. Then Sarah said just one word. Dad? Michael broke. Completely. Utterly. He crossed the stage in 3 steps and wrapped his arms around her. Sarah collapsed into him, sobbing so hard her entire body shook. The audience was in tears. Camera operators were crying. Producers were crying. Dr. Phil stood back, giving them space, his own eyes wet. For 2 minutes, nobody said anything. The only sound was Sarah and Michael holding each other like they were the only 2 people in the world. Share and subscribe. Make sure this story is never forgotten. Finally, Dr. Phil spoke. His voice was gentle. Michael, did you know about Sarah? Michael pulled back, still holding Sarah's hands. No. I swear to God, no. Rebecca and I were together for 6 months in 1981. I was in the Navy, stationed in San Diego. She was working at a cafe. We fell in love, really, truly fell in love. But my deployment orders came through. I was shipping out to the Pacific for 18 months. I asked her to wait for me. She said yes. But when I came back, she was gone. Moved away. No forwarding address. No number. I tried to find her for years. I thought maybe I'd done something wrong. I thought maybe she just didn't love me enough. Sarah's voice broke. She loved you. She kept your picture her entire life. Under her pillow. Every single night. Michael's face crumpled. Why didn't she tell me? I don't know. I'll never know. Dr. Phil stepped forward. Michael, Sarah has stage 4 kidney disease. She's on the transplant list. She needs family medical history from your side. Michael's face went from grief to determination in an instant. Tell me what you need. Blood work? Tests? I'll do anything. Whatever she needs. Dr. Phil pulled out a card. I've already arranged for both of you to meet with a transplant specialist tomorrow morning. We'll expedite every test. And Michael, if you're a match. If I'm a match, she can have anything. Kidney. Liver. Bone marrow. Anything. Sarah looked at him. You don't even know me. Michael cupped her face in his hands. You're my daughter. I've been looking for you my entire life without even knowing you existed. Now that I've found you, I'm not losing you. The audience rose to their feet. The applause wasn't polite anymore. It was thunderous. It was joyful. It was the sound of 200 people witnessing a miracle. Dr. Phil let it happen. He stood back and let the moment breathe. When the applause finally died down, Dr. Phil addressed the camera directly. This is what happens when we don't give up. When we keep searching. When we trust that somewhere, somehow, the universe has a plan we can't see yet. He looked at Sarah and Michael. You two were in the same room for 45 minutes before we started taping. You walked past each other in the hallway. You were 14 feet apart the whole time. Life had been trying to bring you together for 30 years, and today, it finally did. 6 months later. The transplant surgery was scheduled for January 14th. Michael was a perfect match. Not just compatible, but identical blood type, identical antigens. It's almost impossible, the surgeon said. Like they were made for each other. Sarah's recovery was textbook. Michael's was the same. They spent their post-op time in adjacent rooms, holding hands through the doorway. I got 30 years stolen from us. Michael said one afternoon, still groggy from pain medication. But I'm not wasting one more day. Sarah squeezed his hand. Neither am I. By March, Sarah was off the transplant list permanently. Her kidney function was at 87%. The doctors called it extraordinary. Dr. Phil called it something else. A father's love. On the one-year anniversary of the taping, Sarah and Michael returned to the show. This time, they walked in together. This time, they sat side by side. How's life? Dr. Phil asked, smiling. Perfect, Sarah said. Not easy. Not simple. But perfect. Michael nodded. I'm teaching her to fish. She's teaching me to cook. We have Sunday dinners every week. Her kids call me Grandpa. It's everything I never knew I was missing. Dr. Phil looked at the audience. This story started with a white envelope. A DNA test. A coincidence that felt like fate. But it's not about science. It's about something deeper. It's about the truth that we're all connected, by blood, by love, by the invisible threads that pull us toward the people we're meant to find. He held up the envelope. The same one from that day. He'd kept it. This envelope changed 2 lives. But it also changed everyone in this room that day. Because it reminded us that hope isn't foolish. Faith isn't naive. And sometimes the person you've been searching for your entire life is closer than you ever imagined. The audience stood again. This time, the applause lasted 5 full minutes. The envelope now sits framed in Sarah's living room. Next to it, the faded photograph of a man holding a newborn baby. Beneath it, a new photo, Michael and Sarah, side by side, smiling. On the back of the new photo, Sarah had written in her own handwriting. Found. January 2024. Never letting go. And beneath that, in Michael's shaky handwriting, he had added one more line. Worth the wait. Worth every single year. This is what miracles look like. Dr. Phil keeps a copy of that photo in his office. A reminder that sometimes, the most extraordinary stories don't need to be scripted. They just need someone willing to stop the tape.